All right, all right, all right. Something real nice for y'all. Yep. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Gather it all in one time, all at once. Black Friday. Just don't trample over each other coming in here to my chat. Don't want anybody to get hurt. Don't want any lawsuits. No. Don't want to call the fudge on you. If you do a good enough job, I'll give you a water. Because you're making my heart beat out of my chest. Yep. All right. You dig it. Dig it the most. All right. Oh, I got cramp my hand. I'm trying. Oh my gosh. We're gonna have to listen to this music for a little bit longer. I got a cramp in my hand. I mean, everything is went wrong. We can go wrong. I mean, I come in here, I lay it up, and like I don't know if I got bugs, I got a virus, but like I type something in, and only like half of it appears, it stops, and then the rest of it comes in, and oh man, guys, oh my gosh, this is insane. Let's turn this music down here. Trying to figure out turn this music. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, what the hell is going on? Okay. So, all right, guys. So we're going to be talking about Jason Jolkowski. I believe he was 19 years old. He went missing in 2001. I believe I put that in the title. I think it was either June or July 13th he went missing in Nebraska. Just a regular neighborhood. I'm going to show some videos. There's actually a lot more videos than I thought. This is the case I've really been wanting to do. I think I talked about it earlier on because there's not a, this isn't a popular case, so I like to get it out there again. Not a whole lot of theories or really anything on it. This kid just basically, I think what happened was he was working at a pizza place, and I think he was like a radio jockey or like a radio jockey or something too. And he loved working at this pizza place, but for some reason he couldn't drive that day, so he walked, and he was meeting somebody that was supposed to pick him up to take him to work at a school, and he didn't make it there, and he was never seen again. And this was like broad daylight, so it's like 2001. There wasn't like hardly nobody had security cameras around the house back then, unless like they were loaded. Now they're everywhere. And this is before cell phones. I mean, become where everybody had them. I mean, probably you had the Gordon Gecko car phones and things like that, but not a lot of people had cell phones back then at this time. So you're talking about the prehistoric times when the world was black and white. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started here and play this video. I really haven't watched these videos yet, but I think this is an anniversary video. So here we go.
New tonight, a solemn anniversary for a Metro family. It comes at a time as a family in La Vista struggles with a missing loved one. 20 years ago, Jason Jolkowski disappeared without a trace from Omaha. As Lee Waldman reports, today friends and family gathered with a message. They're not giving up.
For 10 years, this tree has grown tall, its roots running deep, shading a plaque with Jason Jolkowski's name beneath it.
This tree and this plaque was planted in 2011 at the 10-year anniversary of Jason's disappearance.
Now, a decade later, the tree served as a meeting spot for Jason's friends and family.
That's just a big milestone to hit and a little sad memory, but it's also good to just keep his memory alive and keep hope that we might have answers. Someone might know something.
The rocks are more than decoration. They serve to connect people throughout the area to Jason's hashtag, FindJasonJ, and the details on his missing persons case.
It's just really nice to see that people want to come and support. Again, just that people remember and want to support our family as we continue to just not know answers.
Today's grim anniversary is a hard one for Jason's mother, Kelly Murphy, who has since moved from the state.
Unfortunately, with this mark, I will have not had him in my life more years than I had him in my life, since he disappeared at age 19.
Throughout all of these years, Murphy has allowed herself the chance for hope and to dream about what her son's life could be like.
He was so good with his younger brother. I'm pretty sure he would have children and, he would be an excellent father.
As the rock painting wrapped up, Jason's loved ones shared their favorite memories of him, one for each year he's been gone. His dad fondly remembering the first time his boy beat him in basketball.
He had the biggest smile on his face for the next week that, you couldn't wipe off. So it really was incredible that he went, talk that smack back, but he just took it all in stride. And after that, I never could beat him.
His younger brother, Michael, thinking back on the big brother he never had the chance to grow up with.
I remember when he started being a radio DJ. To start with, he always got the crappy shifts, and he didn't have much of a following, and he needed to fill time. So he'd have me call in and pretend to be different people and make things up.
Maybe that's what I should do.
About the stuff I had seen.
Each person laying their rock on top of Jason's plaque, all hoping for answers.
Dear Lord, hear me in my plea. I ask you, if it be your will, for the quick and safe return of Jason and all other missing persons to their loved ones.
On your side, Lee Waldman.
So yeah, that was the anniversary there. I think it's 20 years. He's been missing, coming up on 25 years now. Man, my hand just totally freaking cramped up. I can barely click my mouse. Like everything's got a delay. Everything's freezing here. Yeah, there's one video where look at this. This is an age progression here of him. You can see that on the screen right here. That's really good. That's probably what about he would look like now. Let's see here. I know there was one video where they went and they showed like the YouTuber went and actually walked the route that he would have went. Excuse me. The Unfound, they're really good too. They're doing 2 cases there. Go ahead and show this one. Ooh, that's I'm gonna turn that volume down. Man, that is. Oh my.
On the 13th of June,
Now it gets soft.
2001, in the quiet suburban neighborhood of Benson in Omaha, Nebraska, a seemingly ordinary day took a perplexing turn that would leave a family, a community, and investigators grappling for answers for over 2 decades. Jason Anthony Jolkowski, a 19-year-old known for his shy demeanor and aspirations to become a radio DJ, vanished without a trace while walking a mere 8 blocks to meet a co-worker for a ride to work. The absence of witnesses, surveillance footage, or physical evidence has made his disappearance one of the most baffling missing persons cases in Nebraska's history. Jason Jolkowski was born on the 24th of June, 1981, in Grand Island, Nebraska, to parents Jim Jolkowski and Kelly Murphy. By 2001, he was living with his parents and younger brother, Michael, at their home on 48th and Bedford Avenue in Omaha's Benson neighborhood. Described by his mother as a quiet boy with a small circle of friends, Jason was reserved but deeply connected to his family and faith, actively participating in their Catholic church. Despite having learning disabilities related to speech and language, which could make him appear mildly mentally disabled, Jason was of above average intelligence and had clear ambitions. He was a part-time student at Iowa Western Community College in Council Bluffs, Iowa, enrolled in a radio broadcasting program, with dreams of becoming a DJ for KIWR, a local radio station. To support himself, he worked part-time at Fazoli's, an Italian-American restaurant located at 80th and Cass Streets in Omaha. Jason's life appeared stable and unremarkable. He was not involved with drugs or alcohol, had no known enemies, and showed no signs of distress or a desire to leave home. His routine was predictable, marked by household chores, work, and studies. On the morning of the 13th of June, 2001, this routine was disrupted by a simple request that set the stage for his inexplicable disappearance. The 13th of June, 2001, began like any other day at the Jolkowski residence. Jason was not scheduled to work at Fazoli's that day, as his car was in the shop for repairs due to a recent hailstorm. However, around 10:15 a.m., his manager called, asking if he could come in early to cover a staffing shortage. Unable to drive, Jason initially considered walking the roughly 4-mile distance to the restaurant, but decided it was too far. Instead, he arranged for a female co-worker, who had also graduated from Benson High School, to pick him up. Because Jason struggled with giving directions, they agreed to meet at Benson High School, a familiar location just 8 blocks, approximately half a mile, from his home. At around 10:45 a.m., Jason was last seen by his younger brother, Michael, and a neighbor, Chester Link, as he helped Michael bring the family's trash cans back from the curb to the garage. Jason was dressed in a white Chicago Cubs or Sammy Sosa t-shirt, a blue or black Chicago Cubs baseball cap, black dress pants, and black dress shoes. He carried a red Fazoli's work t-shirt and had no more than $60 in his possession. His brother watched him begin walking in the direction of Benson High School, a route through quiet residential streets with minimal pedestrian or vehicle traffic. The walk should have taken no more than 10 to 15 minutes. Between 11:15 and 11:30 a.m., Jason's co-worker called the Jolkowski home to report that he had not arrived at the school. She had waited at Benson High School, even going to a near...
So I don't know if they said this yet or not. Well, they'll probably get to it. When they called, his brother answered the phone, and his brother was only 13 at the time. His brother answered the phone and pretended to be him. And I can't remember if that was after he left or if, he gave the phone over to him and then he talked. But some people think that's weird. Keep in mind he was 13. They showed him there earlier.
Nearby gas station to call Fazoli's before returning to work. Surveillance footage from the school was reviewed, but it showed no sign of Jason arriving or even approaching the campus. From that moment, Jason Anthony Jolkowski vanished, leaving no trace of his whereabouts. The Omaha Police Department was notified of Jason's disappearance, and an investigation began promptly. However, the case quickly became what one officer described as the most perplexing in 30 years of service. The residential route Jason was expected to take was thoroughly searched, with police interviewing neighbors and conducting ground searches within days. Despite these efforts, no witnesses reported seeing Jason after he left his home, and no physical evidence, such as his clothing, money, or work t-shirt, was ever found. Investigators checked Jason's bank account and cell phone records, but there was no activity after the 13th of June. His car remained at the repair shop, and his final paycheck was left unclaimed at Fazoli's Romdu. Personal belongings in his room were untouched, with no indication that he had planned to leave. Early theories that Jason might have been a runaway were quickly dismissed. His family emphasized his responsible nature, close family ties, and lack of involvement in risky behavior. Jason had no history of running away, no known conflicts, and no reason to disappear voluntarily. The absence of surveillance footage was particularly confounding. In 2001, security cameras were less ubiquitous than today, but Benson High School's cameras should have captured Jason if he had reached the vicinity. The lack of footage suggested he never made it close to the school, narrowing the window of his disappearance to the short distance between his home and the meeting point. The suburban setting, in broad daylight, made the absence of witnesses even more puzzling. The Benson neighborhood was described as quiet, with nosy retirees and little traffic, yet no one reported seeing anything unusual
It looks
between
like a nice neighborhood.
10:45 and 11:30 a.m. Foul play became the leading theory, supported by Jason's family and investigators.
Is that Adam Walsh?
Given his height and weight, a forced abduction
Or,
in a busy
John Walsh,
neighborhood
John
seemed
Walsh.
unlikely without someone noticing. Speculation arose that Jason may have been lured into a vehicle or a nearby home by someone he knew or trusted, possibly under a pretext like needing help with a task. His trusting nature,
Yeah,
noted by those
I
close
think
to
he
him,
would have helped
could have
everybody
made him
out.
vulnerable
Yeah.
to such a scenario. Online discussions, particularly on platforms like Reddit, have suggested a neighbor or acquaintance from his church community as a potential suspect, though no evidence supports these theories. Other hypotheses, such as a hit-and-run accident or Jason falling into a storm drain, were considered but deemed improbable. A hit-and-run would likely have been noticed in the suburban setting.
What
The
the
lack of a body,
hell?
DNA evidence, or any personal items has left investigators with no tangible leads, and the case remains
I gotta
classified
go
as an
change my pants
endangered
after
missing
this.
person case with the Omaha Police Department.
There he is.
Two
There's the
decades
age
have gone by,
progression.
and Jason Jolkowski's family continues to search for answers, hoping someone will come forward with new information.
The disappearance of Jason Jolkowski devastated his family, plunging them into what Kelly Murphy described as ambiguous loss, a psychological term for the grief of losing someone without closure. In the days following Jason's disappearance, Kelly sat by the phone, hoping for news, while grappling with the surreal reality of her son's absence. Over time, her prayers evolved from hoping for Jason's safe return to seeking answers, regardless of the outcome. Determined to turn their pain into purpose, Jim and Kelly Jolkowski founded Project Jason on the 6th of October, 2003, a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting families of missing persons and raising awareness about their cases. Kelly, who became the face of the organization, underwent over 100 hours of professional training in missing persons advocacy, offering emotional support, case management, and resources to other families. Project Jason's mission is to provide hope and assistance, with a motto that resonates deeply. All missing persons are loved by someone, and their families deserve to find the answers they seek. As of 2025, Jason Jolkowski's whereabouts remain unknown, and his case is one of the most enigmatic in modern missing persons records. The Omaha Police Department continues to investigate leads, though none have yielded breakthrough. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has released age-progressed images showing what Jason might look like in his late 30s, keeping his story in the public eye.
So yeah, let's look at that. Let's keep that up for a while, and that might be good. That might capture the screensaver too. On this videos, I have no idea how to do that. But there he is. I don't know when this was posted, but yeah, that's kind of what he would look like now. He kind of looks like a normal dude, you know. Like I mean, I'm looking at him, and I can think of like 5 different people that I know that he looks like or he resembles. So yeah, that's an age progression. I'm glad that they put that up. So I'm gonna leave that up for a little, just a couple. See if we get like a tip line or something.
For the Jolkowski family, the pain of not knowing endures, tempered by their faith and commitment to helping others. Kelly Murphy has reflected on the biblical story of Mary and Joseph losing Jesus for 3 days, drawing parallels to her own anxiety and hope. The family holds on to the belief that answers will come, whether through a miraculous reunion or the discovery of what happened. Jason's disappearance highlights.
So it looks like this is called Echoes and Evidence. I think that it's got some true crime.
It's the fragility of everyday moments and the profound
Yeah,
impact
Echoes
of
and
unresolved
Evidence,
loss.
true crime. Excuse me. Wow. Let me see what else we got here. Everything is just being difficult today. My computer, my desktop. I haven't used this thing for years. I'm just so glad it's still working. So, I don't know, man. It crap itself. There was a video somebody did, and they did like a walk through that neighborhood, the same path that he would have walked. And that would be really cool. And then they had a theory there was a neighbor that was looked into, and that was the only one where I heard that. So, man, if I could find that, I don't know what it was called. Yeah, she did a. She did kind of like a walkthrough. I think this might be in here. Well, this is a
Hey
short.
everybody, Megan here. I know it's been a while since I last posted. It's been kind of a busy year, but I'm back and I'm actually in Omaha, Nebraska right now. One of the cases that has been very compelling for a lot of people, but for also myself, is the disappearance of Jason Jolkowski. I did an episode on him. I forget what number episode it was at the moment, but I'm in Omaha right now, and I am so fascinated with this case. I wanted to actually
19.
The disappearance of Jason.
Hey everybody, Megan here. I know it's been a while since I last posted. It's been kind of a
Yeah, that's not it. Sorry.
"19-year-old Jason Joel."
The disappearance
Oh,
of
yeah.
Jason Jolkowski.
Now I'm in the short. Okay. Yeah, like I said, this is just everything's just. This might actually be it right here.
The curious case of Jason Jolkowski is uniquely perplexing. There are nearly no clues in his mysterious disappearance. The 19-year-old left his Omaha, Nebraska home on foot in broad daylight and was never seen again. He was walking to his high school to get a ride to work, a short walk that he had made frequently, but this time he didn't make it. Somehow, somewhere in these 8 blocks, something terrible happened. This is the mysterious missing persons case of Jason Jolkowski. Jason was last seen leaving his home, this house, pulling the garbage bins in from the curb. It had been a seemingly normal Wednesday morning that summer. Jason's parents, Kelly and James, went to work, leaving their 2 teenage sons at home, Jason and his 13-year-old brother, Michael. At about 10:30, Jason's boss at the Italian fast food restaurant Fazoli's called him to see if he wanted to pick up some extra hours and work the lunch rush in addition to his scheduled dinner shift. Jason had already planned to work at 5:30 that evening, a shift that his father was going to drive him to after he got back from his job. Jason had a car and would have driven himself, but the car was in the shop after being damaged by hail from a recent summer storm. Jason was saving up to go back to school and eagerly picked up the extra hours. He first considered going in on foot, telling his manager that he would walk the 4 miles to the Fazoli's on 80th and Cass Street. However, one of his coworkers, Teresa, hearing that Jason would be walking that long distance before working a full day at the restaurant, called him instead. She told the Omaha World Herald that he said, "Okay, just meet me at Benson." According to his mom, Kelly, it was Jason's idea to be picked up at the school. He wasn't very good at giving directions, and Teresa already knew how to get to the school. It wouldn't be far for him to walk and meet her there. Jason put on his work pants and shoes and headed out the door in a white shirt and a blue hat, carrying his red Fazoli's work shirt. It was about 10:45 a.m., and before he left, he dragged the trash cans in, back from the curb of his home. His brother Michael heard the commotion and saw him from the window. It was the last time he ever saw his older brother. Jason never made it the 8 blocks to Benson. He never showed up. By the time 11:15 rolled around, Teresa had started to worry. It wasn't like Jason to be late. At 11:30, she walked to a nearby gas station to use the payphone. Jason's brother Michael answered and at first pretended to be Jason. But when he noticed the panic in Teresa's voice, he dropped the act and told Teresa that Jason wasn't home, that he had left nearly 45 minutes earlier. In broad daylight, midday on a Wednesday, Jason had simply vanished. Friends and relatives were and are dumbfounded, the Omaha World Herald published. That first night, Jason's family was panicked. It was so unlike him to skip out on work. An unusually polite person, people described Jason as tall, shy, and quiet, someone who generally kept to himself. His friends said that he was the kind of person who would go out of his way to help others. As a teenager, he was very responsible and hardworking, didn't drink or abuse drugs. He had been very involved in his local parish, Holy Name Catholic Church. The associate priest at the time, Reverend Edward Vila, called Jason a prayerful kid who was very friendly, very quiet. Jason spent a lot of time at Holy Name. He volunteered regularly as a lector and for perpetual adoration, which involves continuous prayer from parishioners day and night. Church members actually take turns praying at the church, sort of like a marathon prayer relay.
Had it together.
Jason had a learning disability that made him a little slower to comprehend things, especially if there was distractions or noise. But he was also an honor roll student and described as having higher than average intelligence. He had an exceptional memory, especially when it came to sports statistics. His mother told Ed Denzel from the Unfound podcast, he was like a walking sports trivia dictionary of sorts. You could say, who won the World Series in 1953? And he would know the answer. His learning disability never stopped him from pursuing his goals. Jason had wanted for a long time to be a disc jockey, and in 2001 was saving money to go back to college to study broadcasting. He had already attended Iowa Western Community College and had to drop out due to a lack of funding. On air at Iowa Western's radio station, 89.7 The River, he had been known as JJ the DJ. At the station, his colleagues described him as quiet, funny, and nice. A friend and fellow DJ, Sarah James, said that he would do anything for anybody, and she described him as upbeat, saying, when he was on air, he was so enthusiastic and so peppy. While he discussed a wide variety of topics on his show, from music to relationships, he preferred to talk about sports. He was so good at remembering player statistics and devoted to several teams: the Cubs, the Broncos, and, like many Nebraskans, the Huskers. Having to drop out of college and leave the radio station had been tough on Jason. His mom used the word heartbreaking. However, things were starting to look up. He was working extra hours at Fazoli's and had lined up a job as a customer service representative at Citel Corp. The new job would mean more money for school, and the company offered a tuition program.
This is years later, but
At 19 years old,
Hadn't changed too
Jason
much.
officially was an adult, so his parents waited 24 hours to call the police. Law enforcement took the missing persons report for Jason, but didn't really share the Jolkowski's concerns about his disappearance. They initially treated him like a runaway. And for 9 days, there was no official search for Jason
9 days went
or
by.
his route.
That's
Those first few
being
days
there.
and weeks without Jason were particularly hard on his family. His mother
9 days went by before they searched or did anything. 19 years old, if I just figured, a college kid, he'll turn up. I think that happened on some other cases too that I might get into. But keep in mind too, I believe this is 2001. This is 24, almost 25 years ago.
Claire Kelly told reporters that she had felt numb, saying, quote, "I remember sitting on the couch by the phone because I just kept hoping the phone would ring. It was almost like I had to tell myself, oh, you need to eat something. Oh, you need to take a shower, or you need to go to the bathroom. It's like you're in this alternative reality of disbelief that this horrible thing is happening."
I mean, look at all these
Members
houses.
of the
What
Holy Name congregation put yellow ribbons up on trees and light poles all throughout the neighborhood. They said,
I mean, I'm leaning towards it had to be somebody already in one of his houses did something to him. And his remains could still be in one of these houses. Look at all these houses. I mean, something happened. Yeah, I mean, they could have been like, hey, get in the car with us, or hey, you want to get in the car with us, help us do something. We're trying to find our dog or something. I guess, but yeah, I mean, and if somebody lured him in the house, maybe somebody would see that too. But either way, I think he went, he agreed, he went agreeing to go. He didn't, it wasn't anything out of ordinary. I don't think he was like kicking and screaming. I think they just kind of tricked him.
sent out prayer chains across the world via email. Kelly heard from one 82-year-old Canadian woman who was saying 4 rosaries a day for Jason. Finally, hearing his parents' pleas and finding that Jason had not.
As crazy as that sounds, I would look into that person. 4 rosaries a day. I mean, I get it. Yeah, you can't. If somebody's gonna say, "Oh, you can't do anything nice," but I mean, I would look into that person.
Picked up his repaired vehicle or his paychecks from Fazoli's, the Omaha police canvassed the neighborhood on June 23rd, 10 full days after he was last seen. There were mounted searches on horseback, ground searches on foot, and a helicopter with the use of infrared technology, but there was no sign of Jason or any clues to his whereabouts. Omaha Police Detective Jim Shields said, "I know his parents have expressed concern about how the investigation was handled in the beginning. But in missing adult cases, we often wait a few days because adults have the right to come and go freely."
Yeah, 48 hours.
The next day was Jason's 20th birthday, Sunday, June 24th. His family had hoped to see him walk through the door, excited to celebrate another year's passing with cake. But that didn't happen. On Monday, June 25th, police spent several hours searching Mahoney State Park after a tip was submitted that he may have been there. But there was no evidence of Jason at the park, and after reviewing a photo of him, the witness was uncertain if it had been Jason after all. Omaha police officer Meg Fricke said they had received few leads in Jason's disappearance. In a prepared statement, the Jolkowskis said, "We'd have liked to see more activity in the first crucial hours. But we do feel they stepped up to the plate to do all they could, and in the end, they did a proper investigation. We were pleased by the meetings they had with us, following up on any leads, talking to his friends, checking the computer, and conducting interviews." End quote. All of the Fazoli's employees were questioned by the police and by a private detective. The manager had been calling in various staff on short notice, and it was not out of the ordinary for Jason to get a call to come in before his scheduled shift. Teresa was also interviewed repeatedly and cleared of suspicion. Her story matched what the school security video showed. The cameras never catch Jason's image that day because Jason never made it there. Just 1 month into Jason's disappearance, and police told the media that they didn't have any leads and declined to comment on the details of their investigation. These days, when talking about Jason's case, police use the word baffled. Now, they still won't discuss their theories with the public, but that doesn't stop his family, the media, or the true crime community from talking about what might have happened. At first,
that seems to be, I've heard that cops in other cases too say baffled. Must be some cop attack. Must be some cat attack.
First, police thought that Jason may have been a runaway. His parents were, and still are, certain that this is not what happened. Not without his car or any money. They estimated that he had only $60 in cash on him. They don't think that he would have run away wearing his work pants and shoes or with people waiting on him. It's just not who Jason was. His friend Amanda Goodman said that he'd never leave his family like that, saying, quote, "He loves his parents and his brother more than anything in the world. He'd be talking to me on the phone and he'd put me on hold so that he could tuck his little brother into bed. His family came first."
Good die young.
And police no longer believe that Jason ran away either. Jason's friends and family also don't think that he would have harmed himself. There's no evidence that he took a weapon with him, and to this day, no body has been located. He had no history of depression and had been in good spirits the night before. His parents had hosted a dinner with some family friends, and they had played games at the table, saying silly things to make each other laugh. Jason had lost, his mom recalled, often first to laugh. Additionally, Jason had a new job to look forward to and a route forward with school. His father, Jim, also believed that his strong faith would have kept him from taking his own life. Perhaps he had been a victim of a hit and run. This theory is debated quite a bit online, but on these streets, in broad daylight, how could that have gone unnoticed? Jason was a tall young man and would not have been easily manipulated or moved if he had been incapacitated. If something had occurred while crossing the street, it seems unlikely that no one would have witnessed an accident of that significance. Jason's family believes that he was likely abducted and then killed. And it seems that at least some law enforcement officers now agree. In fact, today, Jason's case is classified as a homicide. His brother Michael's account of Jason bringing in the garbage bins and then walking towards the high school was corroborated by a neighbor, Chester Link. Still, towards the high school is vague. No one else remembered seeing him that day. Did he walk somewhere other than the high school first? Maybe he decided to swing by the church or stop at a neighbor's home. There were multiple sex offenders living in the area where Jason disappeared. Reports show that detectives attempted to interview all of them, which I think means that they didn't actually interview them all, which is a little concerning. Law enforcement did also search the home of one sex offender, but after multiple interviews and that single search, they found no evidence that suggested any involvement in Jason's disappearance. Law enforcement in Omaha still had no leads a year into their investigation, but Jason's family were not discouraged. His mom said, "I think we'll always have hope. We have hope, and we will continue to have hope until we know what has occurred." They have not given up on Jason and have continued to put up posters and ask the public for help and prayers. They also start pushing for a state law that would allow law enforcement to share information about missing people. Sharing details and photos of missing persons with the public and other law enforcement agencies can be crucial in solving cases. It may seem obvious to us today, but in 2002, the internet was still so new and there was no comprehensive missing persons database online yet. Kelly, though was very tech-savvy, building her own website, www.missingjason.com, and she was leading email campaigns to spread their story. Both parents appeared on The John Walsh Show and Montel Williams, hoping that getting the story out there would mean that someday they reached the right person, someone with answers. In 2003, after 2 years without Jason, they started Project Jason, a nonprofit to benefit all missing persons. Kelly's new website, projectjason.org, included photos of missing adults as well as children. The organization served a wide range of needs, giving a voice to others that had vanished and raising awareness through the distribution of brochures and ID kits. Discovering that there weren't many resources for the families of the missing, Project Jason starts hosting a coping skills retreat to help people connect with others and deal with the grief and loss of their loved ones. Kelly described the pain and horror of her experience, saying, quote, "You're just kind of in a limbo because you don't know what has become of them, and you keep having the ongoing loss." 3 years later, Jason's car still sits in the Jolkowski's driveway. All of his possessions still remain in their home. "I have hope that he is alive," Kelly told the Omaha World-Herald. "If you lose hope, you stop looking. That's not fair to the person who is missing or to other family members who love him and miss him." That summer, in 2004, Project Jason hosts a benefit concert. 4 bands and many volunteers donate their time to raise money for the nonprofit. Also, Jason's coworker, Teresa, used the payphone at this gas station to call his house that day. She had waited 30 minutes at Benson for him to arrive. She didn't have a cell phone. Not all teens did back in 2001, and had to cross the street to find a payphone. Jason, who actually did have a cell phone at the time, has not used it since his disappearance. Police found that he hadn't touched his bank account or attempted to use his debit card either. Kelly, who has been hard at work keeping Jason's story in the public eye, has also been hard at work getting healthy. A friend on a missing persons website encouraged her to make a change, saying, "If you're going to help Jason, you have to take care of yourself, because it's going to be hard. It's going to be tiring, and if you are weak, you won't make it." It was a real inspiration to Kelly, who adjusted her diet and started walking over her lunch hour. Soon she was down 15 pounds, and then 30.
See, that's the bad thing. These family members run themselves into the ground trying to find their missing kids. Like Seth Rogers, he had some health problems. Other family members have died. I'm not saying that's the cause of death, but that would consume you. Every day you wake up and you try to find the kid, trying to figure out what happened, get answers, and it would be easy to not take care of yourself.
Finally losing up to 200 pounds through healthy eating and exercise. She and her husband Jim pick up biking. It was a fun new hobby that also became a new avenue for raising awareness for Jason. The Jolkowskis started Miles for the Missing, an organization of coordinated bike rides that raised money and awareness of missing persons. All across the country, they rode from Nebraska to New York. Groups of riders stopped at schools along the way, promoting children's safety. Eventually, Jason's Law passed in 2005. It created that comprehensive missing persons database online with information and pictures, as well as a toll-free hotline for missing persons and public education programs on public safety. It also brought attention to crucial issues with missing adults. Kelly told the media, "When you have somebody disappear as an adult rather than a minor, it's an entirely different situation. There's no federal law that mandates them. Unless the state has passed this legislation, they're not mandated to do anything. They don't even have to take the case. Period." Today in Nebraska, they are now required to take the case. Law dictates the minimum information collected for missing persons, as well as its distribution to other law enforcement agencies and the Criminal Investigation Division, who manages Nebraska's database of the missing. Year after year passed without Jason. Often the family would hold events on the anniversary of his disappearance to remember their son and brother. They continued to hang posters and hold candlelight vigils to pray for his return.
June 13th, 2001, he went missing.
In 2011, a tree and a plaque dedicated to Jason was placed on the Keystone Trail, one that he had loved to walk. Each year is difficult, but the family forged forward, finding hope and inspiration helping others. Over the course of many years, Project Jason touches so many lives, distributing tens of thousands of missing person flyers for missing people of all ages. In 2018, 15 years after she created it, Kelly retired from the nonprofit. An inspirational advocate for missing persons, Kelly has been recognized for her volunteer work, earning multiple awards, including a Volunteer for Victims Award in 2010 and the Nebraska Governor's Point of Light Award in 2014. Jason's case was basically cold the day they started investigating it, but today it is still open and listed by authorities as a homicide. Local law enforcement refer to it as the most baffling case seen in 30 years. His family said that it feels unreal that he's been gone so long. His father recently telling the media that if tears and prayers could bring Jason home, he would have been home a long time ago. It's nice that we get together to share memories, but it hurts that we don't know where he is or what happened to him. His mother still believes that somebody knows something and that they either don't realize what they know or they're afraid to come forward. Unwavering and determined, she said, "We can unlock this mystery." That's always the hope. At the time that he was last seen, Jason Jolkowski was 6'1" and 165 pounds. He had been wearing black pants and black shoes, a blue Chicago Cubs hat, and a white shirt.
Let me get back and leave that up there.
Jason Jolkowski was 6'1".
Okay, yeah, I want to leave that up there. Yeah, that's well. Yeah, let me get the. There's one with
1 and 165 pounds. He had been wearing black pants and black shoes, a blue Chicago Cubs hat, and a white shirt.
And it's going to be a line through it, but I think you can still tell. I get put things up there. Yeah, so the number is 402-444-5657. So if you go back and watch this video and you know anything, please call that number. As you heard there, his family, missing dearly. I don't know when this video was posted. Let me see who this is because I want to give him credit. What channel this is? Yeah, here it is. True Crime Treadmill. True Crime Treadmill. So go ahead and subscribe to them, like them. They did a wonderful job there. She walked through. Yeah, she walked all the way through to the high school from Omaha, Nebraska. It's the place everyone expects him to be that morning. That's what I thought. I think that's where he was supposed to meet up with. The person picking him up, and that's an age progression. He looks the same, man. He aged well. I mean, I'm not like I said. I don't know if I can get it when this video was posted. 2 years ago, it says. So I guess this would have been like 2003. So, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. I really don't know anything else about the case. But yeah, it's sad. He sounded like, he was 19 years old, and that's considered an adult, barely an adult. I mean, and then he has special needs. 9 days looking for him. So that's pretty much, I would say, that tells you a lot there, probably why they don't know anything. Um, I would say either somebody, tricked him into going into one of those houses and did something to him, or, somebody picked him up and did something to him. And I would say he probably went willingly. They probably tricked him. I don't know if it was somebody that knew him, or why would you do that? A kid just walking down the road, and I'm sure they looked into anything. So if there was a trail where, like, he, somebody, had something against him and they planned this out, or, it was an opportunity presented itself at the time. He had a cell phone too. I'm sure they tracked that. Probably wasn't a lot of camera footage. And then someone saw him. Someone, I think, was taking the trash out, saw him, and that was the last person. I would say he probably, whatever happened to him probably closer to his house than the school. And they looked into the person supposed to pick him up. They, like I said, they looked into the people he worked with. So it was a long time ago. This is one of the longest cases that I know of missing people, and that's why I kind of wanted to do this one before I forgot. There's another one I kind of wanted to do. Craig Freer, he's been missing a while too. I think he's out of like Upper New York, and I might actually do that next. But yeah, with that being said, I think I'm just going to go ahead and call the video here, guys. And thanks for when no one showed up, but hopefully, if you rewatch this, maybe you give a comment, a like, or just watch the damn thing later.